This scientist, who is called one of the fathers of microbiology, was not interested in sciences in his childhood and spent all his free time painting. When many years later his juvenile paintings were shown to the artist Jerome, he exclaimed, "It is very good that this chemist had not taken up arts. Otherwise we would have found a dangerous contestant." The great Frenchman's name, whose discoveries saved millions of people, was Louis Pasteur. He was born on December 27, 1822, in the east of France in the town of Dole, but he considered Arbois, where he had spent his childhood, to be his native town. Louis's father, Jean-Joseph Pasteur, a rich hereditary tanner, had a dream that his son would become a teacher and did his best to give him a good education. On finishing school and the Royal College in Besançon, Louis was awarded the bachelor's degree and started teaching in the college. He successfully passed his exams to the École Normale Supérieure, the oldest French higher teaching training school. He took such great interest in chemistry and physics there that he studied even at night. And in order to carry out a long experiment for obtaining phosphorus, he went to the laboratory at 4 o'clock in the morning. At the age of 24, Pasteur defended 2 doctoral theses at a time, in chemistry and physics. A year later, having determined the structure of the enigmatic tartaric acid, the young scientist laid the foundations of stereochemistry, a science studying spatial location of atoms in a molecule. 26-year-old Louis Pasteur was elected as professor of chemistry at Strasbourg University. On the 15th day of his stay in the city, he wrote a letter to the university rector, Auguste Laurent, asking his consent to marry his daughter Marie. Pasteur had seen the girl only once, but it was enough for him to understand that Marie was destined to him. They lived together in love and understanding for 46 years, till the scientist passed away. At Strasbourg University, and later at the University of Lille and the École Normale in Paris, where Pasteur got his positions, he carried on researching crystals. They led him to unexpected discoveries. Examining tartaric acid under the microscope, the scientist discovered a tiny mold fungus in it. Pasteur declared that it was the fungus that, by propagating in wine, brought about its fermentation. It contradicted the theory of Liebig, the king of chemistry, who stated that fermentation was a chemical process which started when a substance touched the ferment. While members of the Academy of Sciences were trying to decide who was right, Pasteur was making attempts to find a remedy to save wine from being spoiled. It turned out to be simple and universal. To kill harmful microbes in wine, beer, and milk, the liquid has to be heated to 60 degrees. Then the temperature has to be kept up for some time. This method of preserving products was called pasteurization. It has been used in the food processing industry ever since. In 1865, the Ministry of Agriculture entrusted with Pasteur the duty to work out methods to combat the silkworm disease which struck the south of France. Thanks to the prophylactic measures proposed by the scientist, the country saved more than 1 billion francs, which was more than the amount of the indemnity France had to pay Germany after the Franco-Prussian War. These discoveries were not easy for Pasteur. The state allocated meager sums of money for research. That is why the scientist often had to carry out experiments at his own expense in poorly equipped laboratories. Besides, his personal tragedies took their toll on him. His parents passed away. Then his 3 daughters died, one after the other, of infectious diseases. Pasteur's health did not endure the strain, and in the autumn of 1868 he had a cerebral hemorrhage. At the age of 46, the scientist became disabled. The left part of his body was paralyzed. But in spite of the affliction, Pasteur continued working. In 1870, he came to know that the English surgeon Lister, on the basis of his works on fermentation, had invented antiseptic, a remedy killing microbes which caused inflammations after operations. Pasteur proposed to use the antiseptic in maternity homes where every 4th woman died of fever. The scientist proved that it was the doctors who were to blame for the disease, as they carried microbes on their dirty hands from one patient to another. At the age of 55, Pasteur took up the study of anthrax. He discovered that if an organism was injected with a vaccine containing weakened bacteria of anthrax, the human being would produce immunity, unreceptiveness to the disease. And a few years later, the scientist produced the vaccine for another horrible disease, rabies. On July 6, 1885, he vaccinated the first human, Joseph Meister, a 9-year-old boy who was badly bitten by a rabid dog, survived, and hundreds of patients from all over the world flocked to Paris in the hope to get Pasteur's help. But nobody could save Pasteur. He died on September 28, 1895, after a severe attack of uremia and total paralysis. 3 years earlier, honoring the scientist on his 70th birthday, the Academy of Sciences awarded him with a medal having an inscription, "Thankful mankind to its benefactor."